South Africa has been left unsettled by the dramatic and deeply troubling news that a former high-ranking police chief, known publicly only as General Thabiso M., was discovered late Tuesday night lying critically injured outside his Johannesburg home after what authorities now believe was a highly coordinated assassination attempt. The incident has intensified national anxiety, raising urgent questions about the safety of former security officials and the growing boldness of criminal syndicates that seem increasingly undeterred by law enforcement structures. What began as an ordinary evening in the quiet, affluent suburb of Bryanston quickly descended into chaos shortly before 22:47 when a neighbor, returning home, noticed what appeared at first glance to be a man collapsed near the entrance of General Thabiso's property. Initially assuming a medical emergency, the neighbor rushed closer, only to be shocked by the sight of blood pooling across the pavement and the unmistakable realization that the former police boss had been shot. Emergency responders were on the scene within minutes, working rapidly to stabilize him before transporting him to a nearby private hospital. Doctors later confirmed that General Thabiso had sustained a single gunshot wound to the upper torso. While his condition remains critical, early medical reports indicate that he is responding to treatment. Specialist surgeons performed emergency procedures through the early hours of Wednesday morning, and teams are continuing further assessments as they attempt to manage the complications associated with such a targeted attack. Investigators believe the shooting occurred just minutes before the neighbor discovered him, suggesting that the perpetrators executed their plan swiftly and withdrew before anyone could intervene. What has alarmed detectives the most is the level of precision, planning, and professionalism seemingly displayed by the attackers. A senior investigator close to the scene described the layout, evidence pattern, and overall nature of the shooting as one indicating deliberate, coordinated action rather than opportunistic criminality. Forensic teams recovered several 9mm shell casings near the driveway, and early ballistic analysis suggests the firearm used was equipped with a suppressor. This single detail has greatly influenced the direction of the investigation, as the use of a suppressor is consistent with an intent to carry out the attack quickly, quietly, and with minimal chance of drawing immediate attention from neighbors or passing vehicles. Adding to the growing list of troubling elements, the neighborhood experienced a brief but suspicious power outage approximately 20 minutes before the shooting. Though the cause of the outage is still being explored, security analysts believe it may have been deliberately timed to disable security cameras, reduce street lighting, and create perfect cover for the attackers to approach the property unnoticed. Power disruptions are not uncommon in South Africa, but the timing, coupled with the nature of the attack, has prompted investigators to examine whether it was orchestrated as part of the operation. While SAPS officials remain cautious about speculating publicly on motives, sources close to General Thabiso's history and career say investigators are exploring three primary avenues. Before his retirement, General Thabiso served in an elite investigative division that aggressively targeted major organized crime structures, including transnational smuggling networks, large-scale gang operations, and deeply entrenched corruption schemes involving both private actors and high-level officials. Several of the operations he oversaw led to significant financial losses for criminal syndicates and long-term prison sentences for key figures. The possibility of delayed retaliation, the settling of old scores, has therefore become one of the central theories guiding the investigation. Such targeted attacks on former law enforcement officials have precedent in other nations grappling with organized crime, and analysts warn that some syndicates are known for waiting years before striking back when security protections have weakened. In addition to the organized crime angle, reports circulating within policing circles indicate that General Thabiso had long-standing internal disagreements with certain senior leaders over controversial operational decisions. Some of these disputes were never made public but were described by insiders as intense, bitter, and politically charged. Investigators are working to determine whether any unresolved personal or professional conflicts may have escalated into something far more dangerous post-retirement. The world of high-level policing is often rife with political tensions and competing interests, and retired officials who once wielded influence are sometimes seen as threats, especially if they retain sensitive information. This brings investigators to the third theory, the possibility that General Tabiso possessed information that could be damaging to powerful individuals in political or criminal networks. Retired intelligence and policing figures often carry knowledge that remains valuable or dangerous long after they leave office. If the former general had access to information capable of exposing major operations, implicating influential figures, or destabilizing political alliances, such knowledge could make him a potential target. While authorities stress that this line of reasoning remains speculative, it has not been ruled out due to the sophistication of the attack. In response to the gravity of the situation, SAPS has taken the unusual step of deploying a multidisciplinary task team composed of top detectives, intelligence operatives, and forensic experts. In a strongly worded public statement, SAPS condemned the attack, calling it a direct assault on the stability and integrity of South Africa's security establishment. Political leaders echoed the sentiment, warning that an attack of this nature on a former top police official signals a disturbing rise in criminal confidence and undermines the perception of state security. On social media, thousands of citizens expressed frustration, fear, and outrage, demanding transparency and swift arrests, while others criticized the government for failing to protect retired officials who remain high-risk targets. Residents of Bryanston reported hearing what they described as a faint, muffled sound around the time of the shooting, though few recognized it as gunfire because of its subdued tone. One resident said, "We thought it was a generator switching on or maybe a car backfiring. Nothing about the sound suggested gunshots, so we didn't pay attention." Another neighbor recalled seeing unfamiliar vehicles slowly passing through the area in the days before the attack. While investigators have yet to link these sightings to the shooting, all reports are being recorded and analyzed. Despite the power outage, several homes in the neighborhood had backup battery systems that kept their security cameras running. SAPS technicians have begun collecting and analyzing footage from these homes, hoping to identify any movements or suspicious behavior in the minutes leading up to and immediately after the shooting. Early indications suggest that the attackers may have arrived on foot, approaching the property from a nearby side street where visibility was limited due to the blackout. Investigators believe the shooters then fled toward a waiting vehicle parked several blocks away to avoid detection. Footprints and tire tracks found near these side streets have been sent for forensic examination, and detectives are cross-referencing the evidence with known criminal groups operating in Gauteng. The incident has reignited debates over whether South Africa provides adequate protection for retired senior police and intelligence officials. Many security experts argue that these individuals remain high-risk targets for years, sometimes decades, after leaving office, particularly if they were involved in operations that disrupted powerful criminal networks. Yet unless a former official reports direct threats or continues to handle sensitive information, state-provided protection is often minimal or non-existent. Advocacy groups are now calling for the creation of new security frameworks that ensure consistent monitoring and protection for individuals who face prolonged risk due to their previous roles in state security. As the investigation continues, authorities are expected to release more information in the coming days. For now, the nation watches closely and waits for clarity on who orchestrated this brazen attack and why. The shooting of General Tabiso M stands as a chilling reminder that unresolved conflicts, criminal vendettas, and hidden power struggles continue to cast long, threatening shadows over South Africa's security landscape, and that even those who once stood at the forefront of enforcing the law are not immune from becoming targets.